a little bit about what you're going to be seeing tonight. What you're going to be seeing is improvisational comedy, meaning that everything we do is made up on the spot. Mr. Roy, Steve, if you get the house lights for me, just right above your head. Thank you very much. So you're going to be seeing improvisational comedy, meaning that everything done in this show is made up. It's not been premeditated. It's not been thought out. It's going to be very apparent that it's not thought out. But everything we do is brand new every single time. So this is not stand-up comedy. This is not one person on stage telling jokes into a microphone. This is not sketch comedy like you would see sketches on Saturday Night Live. This is brand new stuff. If you've ever seen the show Whose Line Is It Anyway, it's kind of similar to what they do on that show. Now, we have our level 3 students that are doing their showcase performance. They've gone through 18 weeks of workshops here at the National Comedy Theater, going through our 3 levels of workshops, and they are ready to show the skills that they have learned. Some of them have performing experience. Some of them, this is the first time they've ever performed in their entire life. So it's up to you to judge who's who. But it's going to be a lot of fun. They've been working really, really hard. I have been their coach. Again, my name is Casey. I've been their coach for the level 3 workshops. Some of them I had in prior levels. But for level 3, we're all ready. We had our last workshop on Monday, and they're super stoked for the show. Now, like I said, the show is improv, so we do rely on you guys. Yeah. So, half of you said you've been here before, but you don't know what to do. This show relies on audience participation. Even though you're not on stage, you're still a huge, vital part of the show. So anytime tonight that I say you guys and point to you like that, you're going to say that you are the audience. So let's try that again. This show is based off of suggestions from you guys. The audience. Give yourselves a big round of applause. You are a huge part of the show tonight. So if it doesn't go well, you are to blame, all right? Not the players. But we're going to get you involved throughout the evening in a number of different ways. One, we're going to take your suggestions. We're going to take those suggestions, use them as the fuel, the inspiration for what we're doing on stage, and any other times that we might need your help throughout the show. So, there's a couple fouls and penalties that we have for this show, almost similar to a sporting event. But the first foul and penalty that we have, very important one, is called the brown bag foul. Everyone, hands up, do that with me. The brown bag foul. Now, the brown bag foul is something that we have to ensure that this show is going to be appropriate for all ages. We pride ourselves here at the National Comedy Theater when you come and see a show. It's going to be a very funny, high-caliber show without crossing that line of being offensive. Now, we don't know what's going to happen during the show, so occasionally someone has a mistake. So if someone accidentally says something that is too lewd, crude, lascivious, sexist, racist, something that would be offensive to an all-ages show, then I would call the brown bag foul and grab a brown paper bag, which we have on both sides of the stage. I'll open up that brown bag and put it on the offender's head for the remainder of the game. Word of warning to you guys. The audience. Let's try that again. You guys. The audience. You're not immune to the brown bag foul. Like I said, you are going to be yelling out suggestions tonight. I'll take those suggestions, use them on stage. If you yell out something that is inappropriate, the brown bag will actually go on your head for the duration of the game. And you have to pay us 10 cents for the bag. All right? It's California. So that's the brown bag foul. Also, we know that it's the year 2018. We're already more than halfway through the year. How is that possible? A lot of people have electronic devices these days. If you have a cell phone, if you have an iPhone, if you have a Droid, whatever, and your friends are on stage and you want to record, or you want to take a picture, or you want to Snapchat, if you want to go on Friendster, whatever. If you're doing something with your phone during the show, you are welcome to record and take some photos and all that stuff. Please make sure you tag NCT on all the social media. Instagram at NCT San Diego. You can check into the theater on Instagram, on Facebook, whatever you want to do in that capacity. But we do ask that you not use any flash during the show. These lights are bright enough, so just one more bright light, and that's it for the show. So that's the brown bag foul. That's the technology foul that we have. There's one group of people that's not quite warmed up though tonight, and that is you guys. Yeah. So we have a thing to start our show. Actually, before we get to that one thing, I'm going to warm you up a little bit with getting suggestions. So let's say I went to just this half of the audience over here. On the count of 3, yell out your favorite color. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Green. Blue. Nice. This half over here. On the count of 3, yell out your favorite superhero. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Batman was correct. All right. So that's how it's going to work. The first thing I hear clearly, that's what I'll take and use on stage. Now that last thing we have to do to get the players in here is a thing called the applause-o-meter. We're going to start over here at a level 1 applause. Very small applause. You don't have to do it yet. Then we're going to go 2, then 3. 3 is a soft golf have just found the love of your life, you won the lottery, you got a new puppy, you're pregnant, and you want to be. All right? That's how good it is. When we get to 10, best applause in the entire world. Keep this level 10 applause going until everybody is on stage. So let's start over here. I want to hear what it sounds like at a level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Woo!
Showcase. It's your cast. On the level 3 showcase, it's Ethan, Kristen, Ronnie, Cynthia, Doug, Jack, Aaron, and Ashley.
Playing the first game tonight. It's going to be the game of What Are You Doing? For this game, we're going to need 3 players on each bench. We're going to need 2 players on stage. So go ahead and get yourself situated for the first game of What Are You Doing? For this game, again, 1 person from this side remain on stage, please. Great. For this game, this is a game where both people on stage are going to be playing versus each other. We don't really have teams, so everyone's just kind of playing for themselves right now. But for the game of What Are You Doing, I'm going to come out to you guys. And I'm going to ask you for suggestions of activities to start off with. So, it's going to happen that I'm going to take some sort of sporting activity to start. 1 person over here, I'm going to say begin. The entire round, when these 2 people are up here, it's going to stay within that sport of whatever it might be. Let's say, for example, it was baseball. He's going to say, he can even start by just saying, when the person says, what are you doing? He's going to say, playing baseball. At that point, the person over here is going to do something associated with baseball. Some physical movement and also some audio to go with that. They're going to go for a while until the person over here says, what are you doing? At that point, the person over here is going to say something associated with baseball, but not actually what they're doing. So it could be catching a pop fly. At that point, the person over here is going to begin doing that activity until the person over here says, what are you doing? All right, I see a lot of confused faces. It's a hard game to explain, but it's an easy game to watch. So things that you need to know about this game is that it is an elimination style of game. Ways that a player can get eliminated. 1, if they hesitate, take too long to say something. Repetition, if they say something that's already been said, or if it's too close to something that has already been said. If they say something that doesn't fit within the category, if it was baseball and they said catching the golden snitch, well, that is a different sport and not even a real sport. So they would get called out for that. And that's how it's going to work. Anytime someone messes up, they sit down, we get the next player up here. So, first thing I need of a suggestion from this half over here, how about your favorite sport to watch on TV?
Badminton!
Badminton. All right. I heard badminton. Badminton. We're going to start over here. So, you're going to begin. You'll be the first one to say, what are you doing? Here we go. And begin.
What are you doing?
Researching what badminton is. What are you doing?
I'm catching that little ball thing that's coming my way.
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
No, I can't figure it out.
Tonight, everyone's going to Google what badminton is. This half over here. How about give me an activity, it's summertime, give me a summertime activity.
Barbecue.
Barbecue. Anything associated with barbecue. So Cynthia, you're going to start. Jeff, you'll say what are you doing, and begin. What are you doing?
I'm pouring salt into a container.
Salt, my container, I think I'll do 2.
What are you doing?
I'm turning the meat.
You turn. Okay.
everybody in this room probably remembers.
So
Like, not just Disney, but like, give me something specific.
Indiana Jones!
Indiana Jones, love it. Indiana Jones, so anything this round, everything they say has to do somehow with Indiana Jones, the entire Indiana Jones franchise. So starting over here, we'll initiate, you'll say, what are you doing? Indiana Jones, begin.
what are you doing?
I'm cracking my whip.
Oh, I'll get you. Witcha! Witcha!
What are you doing?
Fighting off snakes.
I hate the snakes. Who brought the snakes?
What are you doing?
I'm adjusting my hat.
I look really good in that hat.
What are you doing?
Pulling down a treasure. What are you doing?
Fighting off zombies.
Gosh, there are so many zombies in this Indiana Jones film. I can't believe it. Look at all these zombies. Ah! Good.
What are you doing?
I'm riding on a train.
I think my train has a wheel.
What are you doing?
I'm...
Hesitation, please take your applause. All right, we're going to change things up just a little bit for this next round. Here, can I get your first initial? M, and your first initial? S. M and S. So the way that this is going to work, sorry? S. Hey, what's up? So we have M and S for this next round. The way that it's going to work is that we're going to use those two words as kind of inspiration. The first word out of a player's mouth has to be a word starting with the letter M. The second word of importance can be a word, it has to be a word starting with the letter S. So I say the word of importance because they can use conjunctions, they can make it into a sentence, hopefully it'll make sense, but somehow using M and S as their inspiration for this, that's how it's going to work. We're going to start over here with Ashley and S. You'll say, what are you doing? And begin.
Oh, she's going to ask.
You're going back.
What are you doing?
Making sandwiches.
I love a good sandwich. Got some vegan mayonnaise. That is
What are you
great.
doing?
Muddying sand.
This sand is too dry to build a castle. I'll put mud in it. Yeah.
What are you doing?
Marrying singles.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to bring together these two singles,
What are you doing?
monitoring Simon.
Simon! I told you not to touch that. Am I gonna have to come back over here? Or are you gonna listen this time?
What are you doing?
Magic swing dancing.
I love this class. It's magic swing dancing, and he can flip me anytime. It's just,
What are you doing? Fabulous.
momming Susie.
All right, going over here. What's your first initial?
J.
J and S. Give me another letter.
Okay.
J and K. All right, J and K. This will be short. So J and K are the two initials. We're gonna start over here with ready. J and K. You'll say what are you doing first, and begin.
What are you doing?
Jumping single kangaroos.
One more.
What are you doing?
Jetting sideways.
Hey.
Darn it.
All right. All right. I was gonna let her try, but she called herself out. So we still have one player over here. We're down to the last player on this side. And how about give me the initial right here? M. Give me another. What?
Sorry, I got nervous.
It's okay. You're not wrong. No. Just give me a letter anyway.
J.
Another.
Now it's wrong.
Letter. Sorry. T and TC, you'll say what are you doing first. Doug, and go.
What are you doing?
Taking cookies.
That's good for me, I'll tell you.
What are you doing?
Tasting coffee. What are you doing?
Taking care.
Hey, Kara, let's go to the movies. Tagging couches.
For sale. For sale. No.
What are you doing?
Tracking cats.
Oh.
What are you doing?
I'm trafficking crocodiles. What are you doing?
Tipping cows. That's a chair.
That's improv.
What are we doing?
Terrible comedy.
That is it.
Oh, what are you doing?
Strategy works. All right, this time we're down to our last two, so we're going to make it even more difficult. I'm going to get 3 letters, try and make them letters we haven't already gotten. But right here, give me a letter.
E.
E.
G.
G.
H.
E, G, H. All right, E, G, H. 3 letters this time. E, G, H. Ethan, we're going to start with you. You'll say what are you doing first, Doug? And E, G, H, go.
What are you doing?
Educating giraffes humorously.
All right, Brad. This is how it goes. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, O, G. That's for giraffe.
What are you doing?
Eating,
Great. So, Mr. Boyce, Steve, what is our next game?
Well, we have the game of Blind Line with Aaron, Cynthia, and Jeff.
All right, those performers for this game of Blind Line. We're going to send them outside of the room on the count of 3. Let's say, get out of here. 1, 2, 3. Get out of here. Very good. They are now outside. They have left the doors. They are on the patio outside, so they can't hear anything. We're at this game of Blind Line. I'm going to come out to you guys. I'm going to ask you for some lines of dialogue from movies, maybe TV shows, some song lyrics, historical quotes, different things like that. First thing I need from this half over here, how about give me one of your favorite song lyrics? Sorry, what's that?
I said paper bags to worry, so I don't have any.
Okay. Another song lyric from over here.
Hit me, baby, one more time.
Hit me, baby, one more time.
Sorry, paper bag line, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Hit me, baby, one more time. How about another song lyric from over here?
Who let the dogs out?
Who Let the Dogs Out? Are 2 very current songs. This half over here. How about think of your favorite movie? Give me like a famous movie quote.
You sound like you're from London.
You're tearing me apart, Lisa. You're tearing me apart, Lisa. And I heard another one.
You sound like you're from London.
You sound like you're from London. You sound like you're from London. This half over here, when you were growing up, what's a piece of advice that your parents might have told you over and over?
Don't poke your eyes.
Look both ways. All right. That's our next line. Look both ways. don't take, just do it. All right? Do the do and just do it. We have these 8 lines of dialogue that you have just given us. We've written them down individually on these pieces of paper. What's going to happen in just a moment, I'm going to be given these pieces of paper. I'm going to scatter them across the stage. The players that are outside, they have not heard any of these lines. They're going to come back into the room. They're going to do a 3.5 to 5 minute scene. And they're going to make up characters, make up the plot and everything that's happening during the scene. However, at some point during the scene, they're going to have to bend down. They're going to pick up one of these lines off of the ground, and they're going to have to say exactly what appears on these pieces of paper in the middle of their scene. Now, with these lines, they could line up perfectly with what's happening, but the chances are, with the context of the scene and these lines, they probably will not line up. So that's the hard part of the game. They then have to try and justify why they just said whatever that line was and keep the scene moving. So, last thing we need are the players that are outside. On the count of 3, let's say, get back in here, and then give them a big round of applause. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Get back in here! Just their starting suggestion to give them an idea of where to start. How about from anybody, give me a reason that like a group of 3 to 7 might get together.
Alcoholism.
All right, right for comedy. Alcoholism is your suggestion, and behavior.
Sheila, it's great that you decided to come back, and you missed a few weeks, and we really appreciate your presence here, supporting us all and the group.
Well, I went out for a little bit.
Did you fall off the wagon?
I fell off the wagon. Yes,
Well,
I did.
it's better that you came back.
But,
That's what the most important thing is you came back.
thank you. I was going to ask how your liver test was.
Hit me, baby, one more time. I mean, you have to ask about that. You come back.
Okay.
It's not really nice. I know you're concerned, but
I'm not really that concerned. Not concerned at all. Just do it. Just do it.
okay, my liver test was negative. I'm fine. I thought it was hurting, but it was nothing. It came back negative.
Sheila, Davey. Oh man, I feel awful. I think I've done too much this time.
What did you do?
Too much. Too much?
The little.
Yes, we've all done too much. Different times.
You could talk to him. You know better than I do how to handle these problems.
Do the do. I mean, stay off the hooch.
Now it's mighty delicious.
Yeah,
You don't see that bump.
yeah, isn't it pump up, I mean, we're all to support each
Well,
other.
I came back just now. I came back and I'm glad you have. Also,
Don't be stupid.
So negative.
You guys are also enjoying it.
I guess-
So winning.
I guess it was kind of stupid because I really was enjoying myself out there, so maybe I ought to go back out again. I think I will. I think I'm going to go out. You sound like you're from friggin' London.
Maybe you do need to drink to keep that stuff straight.
Well, I mean, I did pretty bad, but she's doing great. She needs some help. I think we need to do something.
What do you suggest?
A little intervention.
A little intervention.
A little get-together intervention.
Okay.
You're tearing me apart, Lisa. Lisa.
Every time you call me Lisa, people get weird.
It's been so long. I mean, this intervention is a good way for us to get back together. You know?
Back.
You went out and been drinking. This is supposed to be a sober
of Chameleon with Ethan, Ashley, Kristen, and Rudy.
Get up here, give a round of applause. For this game of Chameleon, the first thing I'm going to need actually 4 different things. I'm going to need 4 different emotions. From this half over here, how about give me a positive type of emotion?
Happy sight.
What's that? Jubilee. Jubilation. So jubilation. From this half over here, how about we've got a positive one? How about a more negative type of emotion?
Anxious.
Depression. Depression. It said crushing depression. It's gonna be all right, dude. So we'll just take depression. From the back half of the audience, how about give me any emotion we haven't had yet?
Frustrated.
Arousal.
Frustrated, and I'll take arousal. All right. Frustrated and aroused. So you guys get together right now, kind of huddle up, and they're going to discuss the order and everything for this game. Let me describe how it's going to work. We have 4 different emotions. We have 4 performers back here. Each person is going to assign themselves actually right now one of those different emotions. So each person representing one of those different emotions. We're going to start off with just one person on stage. That person, the entire scene is going to be, well, it's just them really, is going to be portraying whatever that emotion is. Then, one at a time, we're going to have players enter into the scene. Whoever is the most recent player into the scene, the entire scene is going to become whatever that emotion is. Now, when they switch to that different emotion, whether it's depression or arousal, whatever, they have to then justify why they are switching, transferring into whatever that different emotion is. Then, if someone enters, again, it's still the most recent person that remains on stage. They're going to stay with whatever that emotion is. So, they are going to tell us what order they're going to be doing this in. So we're going to have first over here, going down here to the last person. So let's find out what the order is.
Jubilee.
Depression.
Anxious.
Aroused.
All right. And for their starting suggestion, from anybody, what is something that you wanted to do this summer that you have not yet done?
Sleep.
Sleep, all right? So your suggestion is sleep. So somehow seeing offering a suggestion of sleep. So it looks like we're going to start with just Kristen on stage. So the rest of you find yourselves into the wings. So again, your suggestion is sleep. This is a game of Chameleon. Team, are you ready?
Yes.
Begin.
Oh my gosh, these are the nicest sheets I've ever found. I love these sheets. Whoosh, whoosh. I want my friends to come over and feel them. They're so gorgeous. Oh, I love you, eucalyptus. Hi, Donald. Want to feel my new sheets?
Hi, Susan.
game of blind freeze tag with Kristen, Aaron, Jeff, and Doug.
All right, let's get those four performers out there. For this game, we're going to get two performers in the back. We're going to get two performers up here. Mr. Voice, in just a moment, I'm going to have you play some posing music. When I have this music play, they are going to dance around when I blow the whistle. They are going to freeze in whatever position they are then in. So two performers in the back, face the wall, so you can't see anything. And Mr. Voice, hit that music right now!
You can't touch this. You can't touch this. You can't touch this. You can't touch this.
All right. Thank you very much. Hashtag white people. So for this game of blind freeze tag, what's going to happen in just a moment, these two performers are going to start a scene based off of the positions that they are stuck in right now. They're going to use those positions to create a scene, whatever's happening between the characters. However, that scene's not going to last too long because during that scene, the two players in the back, they're going to yell out the word freeze. And when someone yells out the word freeze, these players are going to freeze in whatever new position they're in. One or both of the players in the back, they can turn around. They're going to tag out someone and take whatever position exactly the way that they're stuck, except they're going to start a brand new scene taking on from whatever that position is. So we're going to see a bunch of little scene vignettes, not correlated, not have anything to do with each other. The only thing somewhat connecting them is going to be the position that they're in. So, this is game of blind freeze tag. Team, are you ready?
Yeah.
Yes!
And dig it.
Did you almost see that? That frisbee almost hit me in the head.
Are you okay?
I think so.
Okay.
Did that my hair?
A little bit.
Okay. Where do you want to set up for our beach day?
Our beach? Well, I mean, here's a good place as any. I mean, the frisbees make a nice thing to look at.
Okay. Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
go.
Oh, this looks fantastic.
Great. So we're going to learn to dance now. We're going to start with this.
Okay, I'm a little nervous here. All right, is this it?
That's it.
I don't need you to have to hit.
Huh?
I don't need you to have to hit.
No.
All right.
You're terrible.
I know. That's why here I want to get better.
Yeah.
All right.
So maybe something bigger. Like, yeah.
Freeze! Ta-da! I graduated!
Fantastic. I'm so proud of you.
Nobody thought it would happen.
Not me.
It feels great. I don't have to go back to school anymore.
Yeah. Did you throw your hat and the whole thing?
I did. Well, they don't.
I didn't watch the ceremony, so I was afraid,
Well, they don't give us hats in 6th grade, so. But hey, I'm happy. I can go to work now.
You can go to work.
I don't know where the kids are. I thought you had it.
I gave Timmy the keys to my car. I said, you'd be out there, we'll give you the keys. Oh my God.
Timmy?
Yeah! Timmy might be driving our car.
No.
Yes.
Are you kidding me? How could you give the keys to Timmy?
You were the...
How would you like this brand new car?
I don't think I can afford it.
Anybody can afford it. Anybody can afford debt. Don't worry about it.
It is beautiful.
Wouldn't you like to get in?
I would like to get in. Oh, but I think I'll get in the driver's side. Thank you.
There you go.
Wow. Ooh, it feels good.
Great.
Okay, push, push, push.
Mr. Voice, what is our next game?
The game of crime story with Ethan, Ashley, Kristen, and Doug.
All right, these four players join me on stage right now. For this game, two of the players are actually going to go outside. This is a guessing type of game. So who are our two guessers? All right. So these two guessers are going to leave the room on the count of three. Let's say, get out of here. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yay! Give them a ball! interrogation room, we have our detectives back here. They're going to get 2 criminals to try and confess to a crime. Now, we're going to make up what that crime is right now. From this half over here, how about give me something like an activity that would be on your bucket list. Someday before you kick the bucket, you want to do this. Like something like you would actually put on your bucket list.
Skydiving.
Skydiving. Very good. We'll do skydiving. And then from this half over here, they're going to be skydiving, but let's say they're in a location, I know in the air, but in the general vicinity. Give me like a historical location.
Wakanda.
What's that? Wakanda? Okay. Have fun with that. Wakanda. No? Raise your hand if you know Wakanda. Alright, actually not a majority, sadly. So let's get a historical location.
Dodge City.
What's that?
Dodge City.
Dodge City. Dodge City. Should have taken Wakanda. So, Dodge City. And then from this half over here, there was an accomplice, someone that helped them do this activity of skydiving.
Grandmother.
What?
Grandmother.
Give me like a famous celebrity.
Granny.
Sean Connery. Sean Connery. The most recent celebrity I heard was Zorro. We'll take Sean Connery. And from anybody, there was actually a group of people that witnessed them do the crime. Let me get a famous group of people. What? The Beatles. The Beatles. Great. So, I'll let you guys dwell on that for a second with Dodge City. That'll be fun. So, for the game of Crime Story, the players outside, they are the criminals. They are the ones that have committed this crime of skydiving in Dodge City with Sean Connery, and they were turned in by the Beatles. Now, the players back here, they're the detectives. This is going to be an interrogation room. We're going to have the 2 criminals sitting down. We're going to have the hot lights that are already beating down on the stage right now, and they're trying to get them to confess to these crimes. Now, the thing is, they have to get them to confess to the crimes. They can't just put words in their mouths. They have to kind of use wordplay and dance around the words without actually saying what any of those words are. So they're going to use puns, like I said, they're going to use wordplay to get them to understand what these things are. Eventually, a player might say something correctly, and if they do say something correctly, I want you guys, you're going to give them a burst of level 10 applause. So let's say I'm a player over here, and I say, all right, I confess I was skydiving. What do I hear? That way they know they're right, they can move on to the next part. So eventually they're going to try and get all 4 of these in the time frame of 4.5 minutes. So again, let's review what the crime is. It is skydiving. Their location, they were in the vicinity of Dodge City. They were doing it with Sean Connery and turned in by the Beatles. So last thing we need are the criminals that are outside. So on the count of 3, let's say, criminals get back. 1, 2, 3. Criminals get back.
It's not gonna happen.
You're
Yeah.
really blanking a bullet.
Yeah. My
Seem to be
my
forgetting
dog.
the word
Oh,
take.
yeah.
Uh-huh. Tell us.
Tell us.
Dodge City.
You know, you had someone helping you.
Yeah.
Probably the worst of the 007s. I didn't like that comment.
All right, fine. I
Maria,
know.
I'm gonna have to see you after work.
I know. Old Sean. Yeah, old Sean Connery.
That's
Yeah.
Your friends gave you up.
Yeah, they did.
Couldn't be.
Yeah, they did.
They would never.
Hold your
They
hand.
would never do that.
They did. Are you just gonna let that be, or are you gonna give them up?
Well, you know what? Let it be, right?
Why don't you?
Yeah, okay.
I don't think you should. I think you should tell them that. They told on you.
That's right.
Well, two of them are dead, so.
Take some time off your time.
Yeah, the Beatles.
By the way, NCT does not support that Sean Connery was the worst James Bond. It's Timothy Dalton, everybody. What's our next game, Mr. Boyce?
We have the game of good bad advice with Ashley, Kristen, and Jeff.
All right, let's get our players up here, and Aaron, I believe, is going to be the moderator for this game. So for the game of good bad advice, sometimes when you're watching TV, a lot of morning television, maybe Good Morning America, the Today Show, something like that, they have some panelists of experts there to answer questions from the audience. So you guys, you are going to be the audience for this show, this advice panel type of show. We're going to have some panelists back here. They're going to introduce themselves in just a moment. Some of the advice they give, it might be really good sound advice. You might want to take that advice, and some of it might be questionable or even just really bad type of advice. So, I want you to start thinking about questions you actually need some advice on, some personal help with. So, things that could be happening with relationships, with your work life, with your school life, anything that you really personally want some help on. Not like, why is the sky blue? That's not really an advice question, but things you'd like some input on, you'd like someone else's take on, and they're going to try and give you the best advice possible. So, Aaron is going to be the moderator, the host of this show. We have our panel. We're going to start with an introduction from everybody, but I'm going to hand it off to them. So, give them a round of applause, everyone.
Hello everyone, welcome to NCT, the place where you go get advice and nothing else. These are our guests, our moderators. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Jonathan Goldstone. I just won a Nobel Prize for the universal theory of nothingness.
Howdy, y'all. I'm, of course, Marilee Jo Montauk. I'm a country singer, but I'm also mama to beautiful Bichons and a humanitarian.
Hi, I'm Lisa. I work at Chick-fil-A, and I'm really glad you're here.
If you're in trouble, they can get some advice with anything. You look very concerned.
How do I deal with my menopausal mother?
Well, in the theory of nothingness, she's approaching a period of nothingness. So you just want to experience that with her and support her in that way.
Support, so dark.
Well, I do not know a thing about menopause, but I do know something about kindness, and that's where I would go. Be kind, be understanding, try to help her out.
Be kind.
I wouldn't put up with any of her menopausal attitude. I would short sheet her bed. I would hide her cell
very complicated. But start by arranging a common spot where there's nothing there. And then that's where you want to show the puppy each time. You carry him to the nothing spot, and that's where he should go.
Just guided them.
Well, I know all about that because my beautiful Bichons, Brutus and Caesar, I just set them up for success. Took them out every 30 minutes. Unless, of course, I need to go out for the evening, in which case I use a diaper.
I would put that mat outside and get a cat. Cats are really good, and they go outside, and then you hope they come home. But dogs, you have to walk them and put them on a leash, and then they jump on the couch, and oh, don't even bother with it. Get a cat.
Cats are better than mice.
Yeah.
Somebody from the back. You, ma'am.
Me?
Yes.
I need some advice on diaper changing.
Diaper changing. You all seen my parents?
Diaper change. Wow. Really, it all comes back to nothing, right? It always does. You start with taking off the diaper and then leaving it off because nothing is actually the best way to leave the kid.
Well, I have never died with a child, and I actually hire someone to help with the dog. So I suggest that. Get someone else to do it for you.
That's exactly right. One time I was asked to babysit this baby, and I was like, ooh. And if you can, just wait long enough and pretend like you didn't smell it, you didn't know, and then hope the parents come home early, so you never have to change it. But then the best thing to do, I have to agree, is get your little sister, just pay her 75 cents, because she'll do it for 75 cents, and just ask her to change the diaper. You should never have to change your diaper, especially if you work at Chick-fil-A because you want to keep your hands clean.
Mr. Boyce, what is up next?
We have the game of blind freeze tag with Buddy, Ethan, Cynthia, and Ashley.
All right, get up and give me a applause. We had half the group play blind freeze tag. We're going to play it again with the other half of the group. So let's get two people facing the wall, two people out here. Again, some posing music to get them started, Mr. Boyce, and hit it. Oops. All right, Mr. Boyce is drunk. So, again, starting a scene from these positions, players in the back can yell out freeze and start a brand new scene, tagging out one of the performers, and go.
I'm so glad we took this vacation to Hawaii. I feel like I'm one with the land. I just want to pull all day long.
Oh, the warm sea, tropical breezes are so fabulous. They're washing all over my body.
What do you think we should do next? Should we maybe go check out a volcano or take out hikes?
Freeze.
Or...
I just washed the dishes, but
Hey, good to see you. I'm so glad you came to the bar. You never come around anymore, Jim.
I don't like talking to people.
Chain murder with Doug, Ruddy, Ethan, Cynthia.
Alrighty. Got these 4 players up here. Now, 3 of these players are going to leave the room. 1 person's going to stay in. Who's going to be staying in? Doug is going to stay. The rest are going to leave. On the count of 3, let's say, get out of here. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Get out of here. For this game, it's another guessing type of game. That's why we set the players outside of the room. First thing I need, from this half over here, how about give me like a place or location or business, that kind of thing that you could find in any town.
Go for it.
What's that?
Michael's.
Michael's?
Yeah, the craft store.
Okay, we'll just say craft store. All right, so craft store, craft store. And then from this half over here, how about giving me like a dream occupation, dream job?
POTUS.
What?
POTUS.
A president. Okay, we'll just say president. All right. So the president of the United States is the occupation that we're going to take. And then from anybody, what is something that you could buy for under $10 at a Walmart or a Target?
A snow globe.
A snow globe. All right, a snow globe. Great. We have these 3 different things. What this game is, it's called the game of chain murder. It's kind of like mixing the game of telephone. That's the game where when you were a kid, you sit in a circle, you have a message, and you try and send it around 1 person at a time, whispering in the person's ear, and see how close you can get it to the same message when you go all the way around. Also, mixing the game of telephone with the game of Clue. Clue, you're trying to figure out the murder. Murder took place in the library by Colonel Mustard with the candlestick. Now, instead of those 3 things, we have 3 suggestions that you just gave. So the location was a craft store, or a Michael's specifically, if we say that. So, craft store. The occupation was the President of the United States, and the murder weapon was a snow globe. So we're going to have 1 player at a time come into the room. 1 player is going to come in here. Doug is going to show them those 3 things. He's going to put them in the environment of a craft store. Hopefully they understand what that is. Then it's going to move on to the occupation. Doug is not going to be the occupation. He's going to get the other person to actually act out and be the occupation. Then he's going to move on to the snow globe murder weapon. He's going to show them that. Once they understand what it is, hopefully they're going to take that object. They are going to kill Doug. He'll be dead on the stage. And then that person has to relay those 3 things down to the next person. That person will then relay it to the last person that's going to enter the room. So that's our 3 things. Remember that our location is a craft store. It's the President of the United States. The murder weapon is a snow globe. On the count of 3, let's say, hey, first player. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hey, first player! All right, as Cynthia comes up. Before you begin, one crucial thing I forgot to mention is that they're not going to be able to talk in English. They're only going to be talking in gibberish, nonsensical type of sound, so not a real language at all. They can also use pantomime kind of gestures like you can see in charades to get them to understand those 3 things: location, occupation, and weapon. So here we go, and begin.
I remember that.
I didn't know that.
Ethan would have gotten 2 points since he was the second one that was in the room. If he missed anything, we'd go to Cynthia. She would have gotten 1 point for everything she got correct. If she missed anything, we'd go to Doug. And if he doesn't know what the thing is, then he'd be a moron because he was early suggestion. But tell us, what was that location?
In the kitchen.
In the kitchen. So we're all going to say no on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
No.
All right. And what was that occupation?
Judge.
Ooh, close, but
No.
And what was that murder weapon?
Bad breath.
Ethan, arise from the dead. Can you tell us what was that location? scene. Might lead to drinking. But we have the suggestion of funeral for the game of Fresh Choice. They're going to do a scene, however. I'm going to be off on the side, and I'm going to have a little bit of editorial power. At some point during the scene, they might say something that I don't really like, or maybe I'd just rather hear something different. So I'm going to be off on the side, and I'm going to yell out the words, Fresh Choice. When I do, whoever the person was that last talked, they're going to have to retract whatever they just said and say something brand new. And I can keep saying Fresh Choice as much as I want until they say something that appeases me, and then they can move on with the scene. So that's how the game of Fresh Choice works. Your suggestion is a funeral. Team, are you ready?
Yes.
Yes! All right. And big A.
I never thought the boss would kick the bucket like that in the middle of a work day.
No time.
That's what I say.
Bonk, bonk.
Here's a safety pin.
Fresh Choice.
Here's a screwdriver. Go on.
Fresh Choice.
Here's a feather. See if he's ticklish. Yeah, I think so.
Come on, sneeze. You have a little air left in you.
Yeah. Hey, by the way,
Yeah.
who's gonna get his job next?
Dude, it better be me after all the work I put into this.
I'd be for that.
Getting him here today.
I'd be for that. I would back him up 100%. 100%. I think it's great.
Thanks, man. It means a lot.
You guys goofing around, even at the funeral, you guys can't be serious.
Oh, come on. Come on.
You want feather?
Fresh Choice.
This is my feather.
Fresh Choice.
You want flour?
You think that's gonna make me feel better about you guys goofing on even at the funeral? I watch you guys all the time goofing on and you just can't focus. Focus on
Shelly, you gotta realize not everybody likes your husband.
Thank you for sharing that.
Fresh Choice. Fresh Choice, Jeff.
I wasn't surprised you said that.
Fresh Choice.
I thought you did.
Well, we love him. We do, right? Right?
I mean, in that way that you
We
hate
do.
him.
We're gonna
Yeah.
miss him. Yeah. We're gonna miss him. We're
When
gonna
he
miss him.
gave you guys a job,
He did, and I'm grateful. I am. I'll say that. It's just he wasn't always easy to deal.
no, it wasn't easy to deal with for me either.
Well, he always had nice things to say about you. My gosh.
Tell me one.
He said he'd love to go take long vacations without him.
Fresh Choice.
That's all he said. You were great in bed.
Fresh Choice.
He said you kept
subjects that you can make a list off of. Let's say, for example, that the category was colors. I'm going to be kneeling down right here. I'm going to be pointing at the players one at a time. They're going to tell me something that falls within the category. So, for example, if it was colors, they might say red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. It's going to keep going until someone messes up. Way that you mess up in this game: hesitation, you take too long to say something; repetition, you say something that's already been said; or if it's too close to something that's already been said, you say something that doesn't fall within the category. Since I'll be kneeling down right here, if any of them spit on me during this game, that's another way that they can get eliminated. This is a double elimination style of game, meaning they are allowed to get one strike before. We'll take vacation destinations and
Malaysia.
Aruba.
Cancun.
North Florida.
And I made.
Venice.
Cayman Islands.
Las Vegas.
Egypt.
Palm Springs.
Hawaii.
Costa Rica.
Florence.
Islam.
let me go to Islam, please. Another category. Raise your hand right here.
Cuisines.
Cuisine. Give me a particular kind.
Oh, Italian.
Italian. So we'll say anything within Italian cuisine. Italian cuisine.
Fettuccine Alfredo.
Fresh rolls.
Veal Parmesan.
Caffeine.
Gnocchi.
Ravioli.
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti with meat sauce.
Food.
Foods. Islam. Another category. Raise your hand right here. Fictional locations. All right. Locations out of fiction. It's just another way to say it. And
Narnia.
put your hand up. Honey, is all I got. Raise your hand. Another category. In the back.
Sports.
Sport. Give me a sport.
Football.
Football. American football. So we'll take NFL teams. How about that? NFL teams. NFL teams and
Chargers.
Rams.
Raiders.
Titans.
another category. Right there.
Superheroes.
Superheroes. All right. No villains, just superheroes. Tick.
Supergirl. Wonder Woman.
Superman.
Spider-Man.
Aquaman.
Superdog.
Ant-Man.
Batman.
Robin.
Put your hand up. All right. Right here. Disney queens or princesses. I'll take two as well. So Disney queens or princesses. Disney royalty. And
Jasmine.
Cinderella.
Ariel.
Belle.
Mulan.
Elsa.
Sleeping Beauty.
Oh, boy.
put your hand up. Put your hand up. Her name is Aurora, not Sleeping Beauty. Another category.
Famous singers.
Famous singers. All right. Famous singers. This could go for a while. And
Frank Sinatra.
Bing Crosby.
Johnny Cash.
Maria Callas.
Cardi B.
Cardi B sings, kind of. Another category.
Types of ice cream.
Types of ice cream. All right. Types, what I consider to be types of ice cream. And
Vanilla.
Rocky Road.
Mint chocolate chip.
Strawberry.
the National Comedy Theater. It's called 185. It goes like this. Someone's going to step up here to the front of the stage and say, 185 blanks, walk into the bar. Bartender says, I'm sorry, we don't serve blanks here. The 185 blanks respond with a punchline. You guys are going to provide the blanks, whatever the subject matter is that walks into the bar. The players back here, they're going to provide the punchlines, whatever the joke is at the end of this, the big punchline, and it's going to be pun-oriented. These are going to be plays on words again, and so if they come up here, they say something, they do something. I hear enough of you guys. I hear enough of you laugh, chortle, guffaw, snicker, tee-hee, groan, as long as you make a noise from an orifice above the waist. Then I'm going to do this. That means awesome, they told a good joke. If they come up here, they say something, they do something, it's just complete silence. You'll hear this. And that means no points for them, and feel bad about yourself. So, this is a pun-oriented game, like I said. Let's say, for example, the category was cows. Player might step up here and say, 185 cows walk into the bar. Bartender says, I'm sorry, we don't serve cows here. And they say, that's okay, we'll go to an udder bar. All right, so as you can see, this game is terrible. This is a stupid game. These are dumb words, play on words. These are going to be like the worst dad jokes that you've ever heard. So, if a player comes up here, they make you laugh, you'll hear that ding. If they don't, then you'll hear that duck call. That's how it's going to work. So, the first thing I need is a category, or whatever the subject matter is that walks into the bar. From this half over here, earlier we got a dream occupation. What would be an occupation you would never want to be? Priest, okay? So, let's say, start with 185 priests walk into the bar. Priest, begin.
185 priests walk into the bar, and the bartender says, we don't serve priests here. And you say your prayers.
185 priests walk into a bar, and the bartender says, we don't serve priests here. So the priests say, go to hell.
185 priests walk into a bar, and the bartender says, we don't serve priests here, and the priests say, we'll have none of that.
185 priests walk in the bar. The bartender says, we don't serve priests here. The priests say, well, I'll just get my hat and my purse and my friend and go.
185 priests walk into a bar, and the bartender says, we don't serve priests here. And the priests say, well, I'll be damned.
185 priests walk into the bar, and the bartender says, we don't serve priests here. Then the priests say, we brought our own blood of Jesus.
185 priests walk into the bar, and the bartender says, we don't serve priests here. And the priests say, I'm going to circumvent you.
185 priests walk into a bar. The bartender says, we don't serve priests here. So the priests say, well, we're just going to go down to the child care center down the street.
I don't get it. Let's move on. All right. From this half over here, how about, give me an occupation that would require a lot of education. What's that? President. All right, we had it earlier, but that's okay. We'll say 185 presidents walk into a bar. Presidents. Oh, and begin.
185 presidents walking into the bar, and the bartender says, we don't serve presidents here. And the president says, we don't serve you either.
185 presidents walk into the bar, and the bartender says, we don't serve presidents here. Then the president says, we have our alternative facts.
185 presidents walk into the bar. The bartender says, we don't serve presidents here. The president says, I'm going to veto that idea and take a Jack and Coke.
185 presidents walk into the bar, and the bartender says, we don't serve presidents here. And the president says, you're fired.
He was a TV star. This half over here. How about you go to like a Target or a Walmart? What's a department that you might shop in? Lingerie. I heard. So let's say 185 pieces of lingerie walk into the bar. Lingerie. Big A.
185 pieces of lingerie walk in the bar, and the bartender says, "Sorry, we don't serve lingerie here." And lingerie are like, "That's fine, we'll leave." I'm like, "Actually, could you pick up a bit of trash over there?" They're like, "Oh, sorry, where is it?" It's like, "Oh, it's just right under there." And they say, "Underwear?"
185 pieces of lingerie walk into the bar, and the bartender says, "We don't serve lingerie here." And the lingerie says, "Oh, come on, brah."
185 pieces of lingerie walk into a bar, and the bartender says, "We don't serve lingerie here." And they say, "Hey, are you a lacist?"
185 pieces of lingerie walk into a bar, and the bartender says, "We don't serve lingerie here." And they say, "Oh, don't get your panties in a bind."
185 pieces of lingerie walk into a bar, and the bartender says, "We don't serve lingerie here." And the lingerie says, "Why? You think we'll slip up?"
185 pieces of lingerie walk into the bar, and the bartender said, "We don't serve lingerie here." And the lingerie say, "Oh, you."
All right. How about think of like a relative of yours. What is their occupation?
Cool man.
Pool man. All right. So 185 pool cleaners walk into the bar. Pool cleaners. Begin.
185 pool cleaners walk into the bar, and the bartender says, "We don't serve pool cleaners here." And they say, "That sucks."
185 pool cleaners walk into a bar, and the bartender says, "We don't serve pool cleaners here." And the pool cleaners say, "You scum."
185 pool cleaners walk into a bar, and the bartender says, "We don't serve pool cleaners here." And the pool cleaner says, "Put a filter on it."
185 pool cleaners come into a bar, and the bartender says, "We don't serve pool cleaners here." Then they say, "We can clean other things."
He got you with the. All right. From anybody, what's the last thing you spent over $20 on? Shoes. 185 shoes. Begin.
185 shoes walk into a bar, and the bartender says, "We don't serve shoes here." And the shoes say, "Well, I'm gonna just turn on my heel and leave."
185 shoes walk into the bar, and the bartender says, "We don't serve shoes here." And the suit. And the shoes say, "Adidas, muchachos."
185 shoes walk into a bar, and the bartender says, "We don't serve shoes." And the shoes say, "Don't give me so much time."
185 shoes walk into the bar. The bartender says, "We don't serve shoes here." The shoes say, "But we were so pumped to drink together."
185 shoes walk into the bar, and the bartender says, "We don't serve shoes here." And they say, "That's okay. These boots are made for walking."
185 shoes walk into the bar, the bartender says, "We don't serve shoes here." And the shoes say, "Why not? We're not loafers."
Workshop show. If you're watching the show and you're thinking, "Hey, improv, that looks like fun. My friend did it. Can anybody do improv?" No. I'm just joking. Anybody can do improv. We actually have classes starting up at the end of the month on the 30th. I think we have a level 1 starting up. So if you're interested, you can talk to me after. You can talk to them after. I'm sure they can tell you some cool stories about taking this class. They've been awesome. They have done a great job. 18 weeks of workshops. This is their big payoff. Let's have a big round of applause.